is why wrestling sucks.
You a dumb, me tell you.
You a moron, I's right.
Just shut the funk up, baby, and let's have some fun.
Bienvenidos a Diosas y Cosas Hermosas, reparto, el luchador grasa Lucas Walker. Además, el hombre peludo de Funkmaster V. Las mujeres tienen relaciones sexuales, debido a la realización que viene de estos cerebros.
Still don't understand what's happening on the elevator. But this is Big Luke. Oh, wait, go ahead.
No, speaking of which, hey, that elevator, when the door opened, they were about 10 feet from my Babalones. So
right
I told them easy. I said, hey,
easy.
Back up there. Now listen, this is Funkmaster V, and I got Luke Walker here as always, and we got this is the 5th episode. And we have a very special guest in the house.
Only because he wears a helmet. Only because he wears the helmet.
We've got Barry Allen, not the Flash, but even better, the wrestler.
Just the regular one. Right.
Can we go back and pretend that you're the Flash?
I don't want to. This guy's better.
I don't do anything fast at all. Maybe eat. My matches generally are pretty fast because I blow up really fast.
Fantastic.
That's pretty much about it. Did you say I'm the first fifth? Because I think that you might want WP on the show if you need to be the first fifth. Just saying.
Now, in Ohio, there's a bank called the Fifth Third. And I said, why would you ever give anybody your money if they couldn't reduce an improper fraction? Barry, I know you got that because you're going to school right now. But this is the promoter from Ego Pro. I guess you and also that you're doing these Comic-Cons all over the nation. You're flying all over the place. You're like a freaking movie star every week. You're in a new city. And wrestling for you a little bit has been on the back burner. You're definitely not wrestling at other shows, but you've been around the block once or twice, and you've been running Ego Pro for almost 10 years. And,
coming up on 10 years.
So what are you doing, those Comic-Cons? This whole time we're talking, my cats are over there on the couch fucking. I'm sitting there trying to listen, and all I see is, and they're fucking right in front of another cat. And that's just sitting there like.
If it makes you feel any better, Luke, I think my cat is fucking the couch right now. So she's at least.
This is why I don't have cats.
God makes beautiful things. I gotta tell you.
Well, God makes beautiful things. Like
that'd be a great name for a podcast.
It would be. There's a voyeuristic cat. I'm more worried about the cat that's watching. That's the one you got to watch, I think.
Well, it's one of these two cats' kids, so this is just getting really creepy over here.
Oh my God! I'm calling DCS.
I think I'm gonna call DCS. What the?
Or DHS. Well, we wanted to talk. I guess Barry's here, and we're gonna have some fun. 2 episodes ago, Luke, we were trying to be positive. In fact, the podcast was called Positive. What's the frickin' word? I went to public high school. Positivity in wrestling, and it got about 6 views. And 2 of those were me, 2 of those were you, and 2 of those were your mom. But anyway, by the way, she watched those videos very close to my Babalones. She was about
she's like 2 feet from Babalones.
Yeah. So I told her to ease up. So then the next week, last episode, which would be episode 4, we did the whole worst match in Tennessee wrestling. Our podcast, we're on other podcasts. We were featured. This match we were talking about was featured. There was 30,000 views on the original video of this match. So I guess from now on we're going to go negative. Is that what we're going to do?
No, but I don't think we're going to shy away from any topics. I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
It's because, like I said, I mean that the first the being positive one was our lowest viewed at like 76.
On YouTube.
And on YouTube, the last one, it was so highly watched that YouTube froze and is validating the likes. So we're right now sitting at 301, but it's been frozen for about since about 3 days after the podcast ran.
I don't understand what that even means, but I guess
I don't either. I think it might be getting so many views that people think it's because I've had people out of the woodworks just messaging me about that and said it was the best thing ever. And Gan Green is an idiot. And
Gan Green.
So well, it's because he's still in wrestling, I got that from Mick O'Malley. Hey, Mick. But
the only thing I ever got from Mick O'Malley was ringworm. But anyway, and I got to wrestle this guy again at the Severe Attitude Wrestling coming up. But for number one contenders, I'm pretty stoked. I win one match. I'm already in the number one contenders match. But God Almighty, I love wrestling, and that's what's great about it. And all that to say, there's a few things I definitely want to hit on, and I'm gonna let you and Barry talk for a minute because for some reason I've drank 3 Cokes in the last 15 minutes. I'm about to burp every 2 words, but I want to definitely hit the Lou Vuto story we told today to each other. I definitely do want to talk in my music story. I want to definitely hit the one where we were at the Prince Sports Bar, which that's just hilarious, and then we'll go into why we have Barry on here, I guess.
And a little reminiscent about Ego. I mean, you guys have a long history together, and I've done some Ego shows, and so we got a lot we can rap about. But first, sure. This episode of God Makes Beautiful Things is brought to you by Funkin' Berry cereal, and for the commercial, here you go.
I heard your real dad was Funkmaster V. And your real dad's Barry Allen. And that cereal's flavored by Barry's Berries. Don't ask how they get the extract. So kids, tell your damn parents to buy the best and coolest cereal on the planet. Funkin' Berry.
If I can't keep a flavor in my freaking mouth.
That was the idea.
Funkin' Berry's coming to your breakfast table and for them titles. Don't fake the funk, eat the Funkin' Berry.
John Cena, Undertaker, Repo Man, Tatanka, Tino Santana, Bob Backlund, the Iron Sheik, the other guy, those guys.
In the world of World Wrestling Entertainment, Funkmaster V and Big Luke share their thoughts on the world of World Wrestling Entertainment.
All right, here we are. I'm Big Luke. That's Funkmaster V. Funkmaster V, did you watch Raw this week?
No, man, I don't watch that.
This concludes the world of World Wrestling Entertainment.
All right, hey, there it was. we add that in later.
Don't. Barry's like, what? What just happened? No, he's a pro. Also, this episode, we'll just throw this out here real quick.
Marital rape.
No, not marital rape. No, we've refused that sponsorship, even though that was a large check. I'm not. No, not Wreck the Lich. We're gonna do Watch My Babalones. It's brought to you by Watch My Babalones. Here we go.
Whoa, Vinny, why are you eating that cheeseburger? You're like 2 feet away from my Babalones.
Whoa, I didn't know you, Babalo. I'm sorry.
Easy. Whoa, watch for that car.
Oh, that car's like 15 feet from your Babalone.
Oh.
Hey, easy, fella.
Easy. Hey, there's a McDonald's. Can we get you another burger?
Yeah, I'm almost done with this one.
Yeah, that McDonald's. It's getting close. Easy.
It's getting too close.
Whoa, it's like 20 feet from my Babalones.
It's too close to my Babalones.
All right, enough with the Babalones. But this radio broadcast is originating literally inches from my Babalones. I just want everybody to know that. Just easy.
It does sound that like we're in the same room, when you listen to these podcasts. But really, I mean, Vinny, you're about 13 miles from my Babalones.
Easy. I didn't mean to get that close.
Like 70 miles from my Babalones, so don't sneeze.
Right. You might want to watch out putting things so close to your Babalones because there's like radioactivity in the air.
Yep.
I
and
was
you
worried
could
about that.
have,
My fix.
extra Babalones in
I
10
don't.
years.
I don't need the Babalones. My dad lost a nut. It was hilarious.
He's only got one Babalone.
He's got a Babalone, a Babaloni.
He got a Babalone.
Well, it's funny when I was growing up in high school, there was a kid who only had one Babalone, and then there was another kid in the same class that had 3. So fun stuff.
So when they stood next to each other, they had a full set of 2 Babalones.
They had full set.
Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like to me that something got screwed up playing 3-card Monte or something. Something, too many balls in one of the cups or something. I don't know. Well, let me tell you, that reminds me of this. This has nothing to do with wrestling or music or anything, but this is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. And a right-wing fundamentalist, born-again Christian told me this story. He's actually a wonderful human being, and he's a good friend. But he's the kind of guy, like, one time I said butt scratch in front of his wife, and he was like, hey, he's almost doing the bobble. Like, he just doesn't, you don't talk to women in a certain way. He's that kind of guy. Women don't wear blue jeans, that kind of guy. But he's a great dude. Yeah. Hey, religious freedom. But anyway, he told me this story. And I might have told Barry this years ago. I don't know. But there was a child that went to the same school as he in rural Tennessee, and his name was Richard Lick III. And when you start thinking about, not only is it bad that some kid out there is Dick Lick,
he's the third.
He's the third. It's like the fathers were like, hey, my dad did it to me. I'm gonna do it to my son. I'm not taking it, all the way for this. I want this experience to live on.
Well, I know this probably hits me and Barry in the childhood because like me being Luke Walker and him being Barry Allen, we suffered.
Well, the nice thing about growing up as Barry Allen was, until like fairly recently, nobody has. It was a very secretive thing.
Yeah, a lot of
like
people.
I've got a few friends that like that ha ha he type of tug the ear, wink the eye type of thing. But it's really only been recently that people go like, hey, you're named after the Flash.
Well, it's because superheroes are so popular now. Before, if
pop
you
culture
go back,
exploded 10 years ago. So.
Well,
I'm gonna be a dick. I'm gonna be a dick about the superhero thing for a minute because, I've never seen anybody wearing a Flash insignia shirt, and in Gatlinburg I see about 5 a day.
Yeah.
But my thing is all these fuckers that are just Batman could be Superman, Batman could be Thor. Batman sucks. You like Batman because you fucking watch the movies. Read a comic book and tell me how much. Just ask him simple like, all right, who's Nightwing? It says his mom. This is a street.
Okay, let me get back to Richard Lick here.
All right.
The story's not over. It's the story that keeps on giving. So this, and if you have children, Barry doesn't know this yet, but one day I'm sure he will. But when you have children, you've got to really think about what you name your child, because me and my wife love music. We were actually going to name one of my sons Charles Motown. And, if the kid grew up to be a nerd and was totally white, and doesn't have any type of soul at all, then you would have been like, oh my God, what an awful name. Those are the things, you can't name your kid Thor and he comes out to be a nerd or anything like that.
That'd be wonderful, though, if your kid, became famous and then started his own winery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wish I started a winery instead of a winery. Oh, God.
Oh God, baby!
All my shoes fell off. Anyway, so this guy was not someone who could take. Richard is a strong name. It's unfortunate that it also is a name of a Johnson or a Peter. Well, those are also names too. But anyway, but this guy was the frail, weak child. He wasn't going to peak until later in life. And there was an assembly And this is a large school because this is a county school, and it was like every kid in the county came to this school. And so there were hundreds of children at this assembly. You know this is going to end badly because there's an assembly of his peers. Well, Dick Lick the Third won an award or something. Or maybe he graduated fifth grade or something. Anyway,
oral history.
oral history. Fantastic. He got up. He got up on stage, very frightened, and when they announced Richard Lick III, he went across the stage. Certain assholes, which would have been me if I was there, but certain assholes snickered as he walked across, and this teacher grabbed Richard Lick III and turned him towards the assembly and said, "Now, I know that you call this sweet boy Dick Lick. But I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's good. I think you should be ashamed of yourself. He's a good boy. His name is Richard, and he doesn't appreciate it. Neither do I. And I wish you would stop calling him Dick Lick. It's awful." And right then and there, hand on the Bible, in beige pants, the boy pissed himself.
Dick Licker.
Little Dick Lick played with his prick.
Oh, so the boy...
The sound of it just make you sick.
All he wanted to do was get the hell off the stage. A do-gooder teacher tried to do the right thing, but in all actuality, it was an awful thing. And then this kid not only had a bad name, now he had some sort of, I'm sure, nickname that had, Puddin' Pants or Pissy Jissy or something. Some kid came up with something that fixed, that was attached to him. And we're lucky that he probably didn't commit suicide.
I was just going to say, I think the moral of the story here is if there's any teens out there that are thinking about committing suicide because someone at school was mean to them on the internet, maybe you should really reevaluate life and, be happy that you're not little Dick Lick playing with his prick, pissing his pants in front of everybody that was there that day.
Hey,
and that shit don't go away, man.
No, man, that sticks around. And that was, thank God for him. He needs to thank God. That was before the iPhone and the smartphone, camera phone craze. But that is the more you know moment, the after school special. Barry brought it home, Luke, with the don't kill yourself because you could be Dick Lick the Third. That's why we got him on the show.
Speaking of dick lickers that should kill themselves, Dave Pillman.
What a fucking segue. I almost did a spit take.
King of segues.
Now, I would like to preface this. I'm going to be the pussy here, but I'd like to preface this. Dave has never done anything wrong to me. I think he's a good worker. I think he's a great announcer. I've also told Luke that I think Pillman and he would be an excellent commentating team. They're both good wrestlers too. That's not a put down. I actually think they sound intelligent and they know the sport. And
you also said if you put him in a purple bodysuit, he'd look like Grimace.
I never said that. But I will say one of the stories that I heard tonight or heard previously is the reason I wanted to do the podcast, because I think it's the worst thing a human being has ever done to a friend that didn't involve fucking a wife.
Yeah, and it's not even the first story.
It's not. Well, Barry said he didn't want to give him too much press because he's an afterthought. But Barry, I'm gonna let you in control. The floor, if it's all right with Luke, is yours.
Well, here's the thing, right? I actually saw Dave this past weekend, and it was funny because I saw him fairly early Saturday morning, and I was walking around the con, and I saw him coming.
Ew,
and
gross.
I just thought to myself,
You saw him coming kind of like a Gan?
I saw him. I saw him walking up on me, and I thought, oh boy, this could be fun. And I said, just shut your mouth. Just don't even acknowledge him. Don't even acknowledge him. And that little devil dressed up as the Riddler on my shoulder said, no, go ahead and do it. So as he's walking by me, I said, hey, and he completely ignored me.
Oh,
so I so I about faced and I said, oh, I guess we're not on the internet. We don't get to talk shit to people's faces, do we?
Oh my ham.
And he turned around and he smiled and he turned back around and kept walking.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was like, okay, all right, touche.
Well, if he didn't want to talk there, here we are.
Well, he came to me. He came to me. He came to me about an hour later, and the fun thing about Dave, and I even bust his balls on this like there, so I don't feel like it's that bad to say it here. It's he will make amends, and then like you just I guess he goes home and thinks about it, and then he gets pissed off again because he'll just. It's like, okay, well, we've made amends and we're going to try to be at least kosher to each other. And then you turn around like a week later and Barry Allen's a goddamn son of a bitch. And he just starts the whole fucking thing over. It's
so
like
he'll piss on your mouth.
You want to try to rebuild the bridge. You want to try to rebuild the bridge. You get like a plank of wood down and the motherfucker's there like stepping on it. Yeah. So there's one really great point that he made. And I'll give him concession on this, and maybe it's something that nobody's really thought about, is he said, I don't understand why everybody's so pissed off at me. I've always been this big of an asshole. Just nobody's ever called me out on it.
When did he say this to you?
This was Saturday.
Oh, okay.
He said, you know that I've always been a dickhead. He's like, I didn't just start being mean on commentary because we had a falling out. And I was like, well, you started being mean towards me once we had a falling out. And he's like, yeah, but I was doing that to, Violet Adams and guys like that,
You said Violet Adams and guys like that.
Sorry, Violet.
We'll hear about that.
I'm sure.
Isaac came into a podcast about it.
He said Violet, but he meant me. Right.
I'm gonna make sure you're driving taxis. Wait a minute, I don't drive. So Sunday morning, there's
let me stop you real quick. So let me just preface all of this with Barry Allen and Dave Pillman were the best of friends at one point. They're both wrestlers, and there was a falling out that happened. And you've told me several times you're not even sure what the hell happened. Basically, it came down to him wanting a belt.
I was just. I think one thing happened. He swears up and down it was a different thing. I don't know.
Okay.
It was. If it wasn't what I thought, then it just had really bad timing around that issue.
And then there's a group of wrestlers that like both of you, and they've asked you, and I'm sure they've asked him to bury the hatchet.
I don't think they will after they hear these.
Well, maybe not, but the guy has basically almost alienated himself from the wrestling world. It's hard for him. It appears for him to get a booking because he's one of these guys that is very he speaks his mind, which is great, but he also burns a lot of bridges. And then when he has nowhere to wrestle, he gets on Facebook and says that he's retired from wrestling because there's just all he could do is go out in the yard and wrestle the cat or something. So,
which I'm waiting for that retirement package to kick in.
Well, maybe he doesn't use the retired. I don't know. That's something I keep saying, and I lie all the time about that too. But so Pillman and you do this Comic-Con stuff,
right?
And Dave Pillman has been, according to you, allegedly kind of taking pot shots at you over the years and popping up here and there, maybe on the internet or whatever, and just being like a little, I don't know, like a little, what's the thing from the Bugs Bunny cartoon? He's just been kind of this, a goblin or whatever, just kind of screwing around on the internet, trying to just, whatever.
Right.
Poke and prod you, and I've talked to you a lot of times, even when you were at your maddest with Dave Pillman. You've always had respect for him, and you've always said things like, "I wish it wasn't this way," and blah blah blah. But he has aggravated you recently, so there's all that for the
Well, I
people that
mean,
don't know.
I think case in point is, I think back to the Nino show last year.
Yes.
That was definitely not without incident. There was a couple things that I didn't really like. I didn't like a public spectacle being made of me and him, quote unquote, bearing the hatchet at Nino's funeral. Especially when there were several times that it could have just been done over to the side where
Sure.
everyone didn't have to. I just felt like that was kind of tacky.
Well, that
Um,
was grandiose or grandstanding, really.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, dead in the middle of the walkway to go in while all the boys are standing outside,
Right.
bawling their eyes out, and that's. I thought that was kind of bad timing. And then everything with the show, he, and again, he made a great point. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because it's what I do. I try to think positively, even though
Your
even
show
though
will
I'm
be
definitely
this.
on the wrong show this week. But I try to think positively, and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And maybe that's maybe one of my shortcomings. Sometimes I should be more pissed off and more
My
full of
shortcoming
venom.
is premature ejaculation.
Hey, that's a good term for that.
But there were like, I don't know, like I think 80 something guys by the time that everybody had cashed in at the Nino show, and everybody that's coming to me saying Dave just wants you to ask him to be there, and I'm going, I've not asked a single person to be here.
I
I've
asked you
put
to
out
be
the
there, and
public
I never met the guy.
and
Right.
so yeah, exactly. And I told everybody, I said, I'm not going to ask him. If it makes him feel better, then just tell him that I did. But I'm not going to personally call him. First of all, I don't have the time, because putting together a show like that with like a week's notice is stupid fucking hard.
Right.
And then to go through and put together everything, it's the whole thing was a really, and especially like in that moment, one of my fairly good friends just died, and I didn't have that emotional breakdown until like we were setting up the ring for the thing at the start of the show. Um, like like once we got the little, like, the picture with the shoes and the shirt, hung over the picture and all that, like I got that perfect, and I just, like, I fell in the corner and just started bawling my eyes out.
All right.
That's how long it took
For anybody
to
that
have
doesn't
time.
for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, this is who we're talking about. Nino Sparks. He's
Yeah.
a wrestler from South Central Tennessee. Went to Georgia and other places too. And Nino was a unique guy. He was very
Yeah.
funny. Uh, he always was laughing. He always, and he had a problem. And he unfortunately passed away. And then you did this benefit show, and this thing. There was a 2.5 hour tag match, which featured just about every wrestler in East Tennessee.
16 teams.
16 teams, and Detroit Funk City did not win, but it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate being a part of it. But you're
Yeah.
talking about
But
this show, which
the,
had
yeah,
80
the
guys
whole
on it.
thing. Let me try to wrap it up. I if there was any time that I could have taken shots at Dave, it was through the entire course of that show, because he had been incredibly difficult to work with that whole day. As
Well, yeah, he corkscrewed
several
himself into a match, and like me, I was in the match. He was in the strong style match, and he wasn't booked in it. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm just here to show support to you guys, and just let me in and I'll get out.
Right.
And he was like, well, I want to go over here and I want to get my shit in here and I want to get my spot here, and I think it would make sense because we did a match 6 years ago here, and
right.
to the point where he was trying to go over in the whole match. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm specifically talking about.
Yeah.
And the thing about that day is I had I put together the tag match, and my business partner, he put together the cruiserweight match and and that match that you're talking about, the Strong Style Summit, and and then I went through and did the work with the Twins versus the Twins, and Evan Turner versus Matt Vice, and then I put the Battle Royal at the end of the night together. So there was certainly time to be a complete shithead to him, because I did commentary on the match, and I put him over during the match on the commentary. I'm sitting there doing the music, like getting the guys out to the ring, and he comes in and he's just like, I guess play whatever, thinking that I don't have this giant database of like everyone who's ever worked for Ego Pro and every song that they've ever come out to. And, I could have played It's Raining Men or, something fucking retarded like that. And no, I played his little Terminator song with Mama Said Knock You Out that he used to come out to and all that. And I think as soon as he heard that, he looked at me like, you're not being mean to me. What the fuck? He's he puts out Tommy Brandon in a not very cool way, and he looks around everybody and does the come on in thing. And I don't know about you, Edward Idol, but I think what Dave Pillman is saying right now is, which one of you bitches wants in next? I'm putting him over like he should be. Yeah. It's never been anything. I don't hold shit personal. I just don't.
Well, the things that happened in the last 2 weeks, I think you should hold personal. I mean, I hold it personal, and I'm not you.
Well, the thing with the Comic-Con is, he sent a thing. He made a public tweet, which I think you have to be subscribed to his Twitter thing to see it. And I think he's got about 20 people that follow him, so not a big deal. But it was like
20 more than me.
What'd you say?
That's 20 more. That's 20 more than me. I got a huge Twitter following. I don't even know if I'm on Twitter.
Your Twitter following is getting very close to my Babalones. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
you need to back that up there. Right, go ahead, man.
He did a public tweet that was like, I hope that Shannon Ray and his crew does a great job this weekend, but I refuse to support a convention that allows bootleggers in.
Which is every convention across America that does that.
It's every single convention.
Yeah.
And I even brought that up to him Saturday. I was like, why are you here? Because I know there's a bootlegger on every aisle. I know. But and so he did that one, and I'm sitting there, with Shannon trying to get all the announcements for Sunday written out, and when I need to do them and all that stuff. And his assistant is, I hope that's what Sam Shaw, great guy. He was doing a lot of the running around. He was doing a lot of the stuff that I normally do at cons that weekend, doing a lot of the running around, checking out everything, making sure everything's up and up. People were where they need to be and all that sort of thing. And he reads this tweet and he goes, it's Dr. Oblivious or Dr. Shivago or something. I don't know. He's Dr. something. And
Dr. Remulak. He is Dr. Remulak.
Hey, he's Dr. Remulak. He is Dr. Remulak.
Now you can't stop doing it.
He says the name. I know. I am Dr. Remulak. He says it's this guy, and I'm like, what's the email address? And he goes, Famous Dave, and I go 221 at AOL.com, and he goes, how'd you know? And I said, fucking Dave Pillman. And it was like, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes later, he got like a direct message from him that, like basically named me by name. And Sam shows Shannon and he shows me, and we all got a fucking kick out of it. And Shannon's like, I've known Dave Pillman for years, blah, 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 blah.
So, and he basically threatened. He basically threatened to call the authorities because you were selling bootleg whatever. And
I think he was. I think at that point he probably was trying to get me heat with the promoter, and I don't think that he realized that I'm sitting right there with the promoter while these things are going down. Helping do the stuff with the show. Making sure that his Q&A panels are running on time and all this stuff, So yeah, I think he was probably trying to get me kicked out, thinking that I'm just set up as a vendor, and the vendor space was just like it was Shannon's way of saying thank you guys for doing everything that you've done for the last couple weeks and hooking us up with everything that you've hooked us up with, and et cetera, et cetera. So
it's such a dick move.
Oh yeah,
it was, and I called him out. I called him out for it on Saturday. I was like, dude, I don't appreciate that. It's one thing if you want to say that our show is shit. It's one thing if you want to say, oh, it's a 4-hour long show. Like it's never been the only time it was ever a 4-hour long show was the Nino show. I said it's one thing if you want to pick on the wrestling and you want to say Brother Virgil sucks and I can't believe Barry Allen's doing another fucking hardcore match and blah 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 blah. I said it's one thing if you do that. I said I can look past you getting pissed off about wrestling. It's like you're trying to fuck with my money. That's not cool.
No.
Oh yeah. And well, before we go into the next story, which is the one that's really got me just wanting to knock somebody out, and I kind of addressed it on commentary this weekend. I do want to hear. I do think that the Fred Williamson story. I want to hear it from your mouth.
Which one is it?
The blaxploitation.
Fred Williamson. So the two funny Fred Williamson stories from that weekend from Marvel City was Saturday. He had caught a red eye. He had been up all day.
Tell Barry, not everybody's as cool as us. Tell everybody listening, we got really hundreds of, I'm not just trying to sound like an asshole, but we got hundreds of people. People maybe don't know who Fred Williamson is. Okay,
Fred Williamson, he did a ton of like the blaxploitation movies.
What'd you say?
I shouldn't say that after he went off, but the movies
he was
in
badass and From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was the black guy in From Dusk Till Dawn that had the Vietnam story while Tom Savini, the sex machine, is changing into a vampire, and
was he in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
I think so. Yeah. He's done a lot of stuff. But I mean, he's a big badass black man who would fucking punch a hole in a truck. But he had been up all day Friday. The show was Saturday and Sunday. He'd been up all day Friday, and he caught a red eye into Knoxville. And so he'd had like an hour of sleep, and like around the 36-hour mark, he's like passing out, like at his table. He's nodding off and shit, and he's like mid-conversation with people and just falling asleep. People are like, I don't know if I should pay or just put the money down like under his hand But there was a young man, and I was standing talking to I was standing talking to one of my buddies that is a professional cosplay model, and she was set up right next to him. So I got this like firsthand.
She's beautiful.
Christina?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm standing there talking to her, and a guy says, I just really enjoyed all your blaxploitation movies. And it was like somebody gave him a hit of cocaine because he just sprung up and his eyes got huge. And he said, who the fuck called him blaxploitation? Let me tell you something. I didn't get exploited. I got paid like a motherfucker for those movies. Blaxploitation is a word that the white man wants you to use.
And you,
Keep on using black exploitation because the white man told you to, didn't he?
and that kid
And
said
it's
that kid
like shit in his pants.
that kid that kid kept going, "I'm sorry," and then Fred Williams would be like, "No, no." Like he wouldn't let the kid apologize. He read him the riot act. I'm sorry. No, no.
No,
Yeah.
no. Don't you know? They call me boss. That's actually a movie. I was looking up. I was looking up like black exploitation soundtracks and cool ass like mid '70s to late '70s like funk blues to put in for the pre-show soundtrack for the big payback next week, and I came across this song and I just stopped doing everything I was doing and I was like, how is this a song? And it's the theme song to a movie called Boss.
God Almighty.
Not even with an A. It's not even cool. It's like Artie Lang style.
Yes. It's
So
like yes.
He did get exploited once, it sounds like.
Well, the movie poster is just him with a cowboy hat and like a giant fucking gun that there's no way a human should be able to hold and shoot at the same time. It looks like an airplane would have a problem holding this fucking thing, you know?
Now wait a minute. So Fred Williamson gets mad at this nerd who's just trying to be polite.
I think he might have been.
And he's angry that the boy says blaxploitation, which is an official term, and yet he starred in a movie named Boss N-Word.
And it was called Boss N-Word. It was.
Yeah, it wasn't N-I-G-G-A.
Just go to YouTube and type in theme from and the theme of that movie and listen to the song. It's like I sit there and I was like, how the fuck did this ever get recorded? How?
It was a different time, man.
Oh.
It was a different time.
Okay, so then since all of our worlds seem to revolve around dumb shit, wrestling, Comic Cons, and taxi cabs, and shrimp, so this next little nugget that I think is the worst story in human history, happened at another comic book convention, or was it like a flea market type deal?
It was like a swap meet. Yeah, flea market. And now this is the story. The reason we even have Barry on, even though there'd be a million reasons to have Barry on. Barry.
Yeah, we've talked about having him on long before this.
Yeah, and Barry, we talk about Barry almost every show. I don't have many friends in life, and I don't have very many friends at all in pro wrestling, and I would consider Barry a friend in pro wrestling. He's a Jew, so he would fucking sell me out for 25 cents. I understand that, but with that being said,
I'd at least get 50 cents for you.
Well, even though he is a Jew, he's exuding more Jesus benevolence is radiating out of Athens, Tennessee from his
Babalones.
From his Babalones. I mean, the guy's a nice guy. So now like I said, I don't have any problem with Dave. I understand. See, Dave, when he said to Barry this week, I'm an asshole. Why is everybody upset? I've always known that. And when you know that about somebody, you don't have a lot of expectations. But this is the story that was the catalyst. Okay, so Dave Pillman was mad he didn't get the belt. And Dave Pillman came into a dead man's memorial and started demanding to win matches and do... Okay, well, he's an asshole, whatever. Dave Pillman got on the computer and was trying to get Barry kicked out of a Comic Con. He was just doing that to be funny, and it was, it's an attempt to fuck with your money. Which, if Barry had kids, he probably would be 10 times as mad as he is. But, since Barry's single, he's like, whatever, I'll be all right. But this story, I swear, should be told from a pulpit somewhere. And at the very end, the twist of the story should be, and that man was the devil. But now, I'll it seems like Barry has found Jesus this week. He's very nice about Dave. He's a lot nicer than he was a couple weeks ago when he's talking to me on the phone. But he's cool. So I'll start this one off, and Barry, you can take over whenever. But there's a popular wrestler named Spoonie Mac.
Nicest guy on the planet, man.
Really nice guy. One time, I drove all the way to I think we were in Georgia, and I rode with Bob O'Mac, talked the whole time, and when I got down there, I realized I didn't have anything but wrestling boots. I didn't have gear, I didn't have my mink, I didn't have nothing. And Spoonie let me wear his spare gear that had a weird brown stain on it, but I'm not gonna,
A
you know,
little loose, a little loose around the Babalones.
no, it was Spoonie's about a 34, and at the time I was about a 38 because I believe not only in funk, but I believe in fine Italian pastas.
And A&W cheeseburgers and red steak and rice
Okay,
and beans. And
so I was with you for 3 hours today, and I ate twice. That's not that crazy. It was the only time I ate.
You're with me for 3 hours. You ate twice within a 1 hour period.
I'm new to Pigeon Forge. This place is magical.
That was actually just once. You just, you spread it out.
That's
He wasn't
right.
done the first time.
Well, Luke today took me to this. It was really like a dive, a Honduran dive in the hood of Gatlinburg, if there was a hood. And I'm sitting there trying to read the menu. This is hilarious. My broken Spanish. I'm like, is that word plate? It's a plate of some sort of meat with red rice and beans. And then Luke was like, the English version is right next to it. And I was like, oh, plate of steak. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Even the Honduran behind the counter was like, yeah, it's right there, idiot.
Yeah, he was like, I speak perfect English. Why don't you ask me what that is?
No, and don't take out the fact that you're wearing a dark gray suit with a lavender shirt under it.
And a Rolex watch.
And
I was looking pimp. And there was 2 L's in that Rolex, but I don't know why. It was a misprint. But anyway, so and that was fantastic. What was it? El Primo's is what it was called?
Yeah, they had a new name, but there's an El Primo right by you there in Sevierville.
In Sevierville. All right. Anyway, God Almighty, it was good. Anyway, it's like I told you. If I could make a bed out of those handmade tortillas, I would. And I just sleep in it all night and have sexy dreams about foxy Latinas with big legs. Anyway, so Spoonie is a great guy. Now Spoonie's a black dude, but he's a nerd, man. Really, he's a comic book.
Never seen him not wearing a Deadpool shirt.
Yeah, he's a nerd, but he's a cool nerd. He's got dreadlocks. He's a good pro wrestler and all this stuff. But he's a nerd, and besides Barry, he's about the only person I know that. And sorry, Fred, if you're listening, but we talk about blaxploitation. One of my favorite. We talk about how hot Pam Grier is and all this stuff.
Oh, she's so.
She's hot as hell. Anyway, still, she's like 92 and she's still hot. But anyway, so Spoonie works part-time helping a guy out selling, I guess, comic books and toys or something like that at a swap meet in Athens.
Well, it's in Sweetwater.
Okay.
He does. The guy sells toys. The guy's got I guess we could drop in a plug for CJ. There's a little place. It's in the Sweetwater Flea Market. He's set up every week, and he's got everything from Star Wars, like the original Star Wars toys, Amigos, and all the way up through the '80s GI Joes, and all the way up through stuff that came out.
Does he have the little homies wrestlers? Vinny's looking for these.
We'll talk about that later. That was crazy. That was crazy today. I'm glad you brought that up, just so I could remember to talk to my friend about that. But anyway,
that shop. One more quick. That shop's the first place that I ever saw a USS flag. I'm a huge GI Joe fan. It's the first place I've ever seen a USS flag set up, like a complete, 100% complete USS flag. That's the big 7-foot long
aircraft
carrier.
Yeah,
and he had. I mean, the ships and all the planes and everything that GI Joe ever came out with are setting on it with room, and I just walked in there and stared at it like one day, and if I wouldn't have went to jail for doing it, I probably would have just pulled one out right there, because it was just like the prettiest thing that I've ever seen in my life. I want one, but I don't have anywhere to put the damn thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy one day, but yeah, I mean, it's it's 7 foot long, it's like 3 foot tall. I mean, it's huge, and this is the only time that I've ever seen one just set up. And he just has it set up on like this table in the middle of his store, just to show it off. He doesn't want to sell it. He just has it. Like, look at me, I've got one of these, and you don't.
Well, everything has a price, my brother. The $1 Million Man.
Well, he does have a price on it, but it's worth. He wants way more than it's worth.
90.
He's got a price.
I've seen them. I've seen the same thing in its original box, in its original shipping container, for the same price that he wants it for. So that he doesn't really want to sell it.
Right. Okay, so Spoonie, have I met this guy? Has he ever come to Ego Pro or anything? Or?
He was actually at the Nino show.
Okay.
He was in the first match. He looks like Glacier.
What?
Oh man, his blood runs cold.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember I remember that wrestler because I remember for 4 months you did promos of him, and then he came in and he took a dump in the ring. But so anyway, Spoonie helps this guy out apparently, and he helps sell. So guess what? Dave Pillman, boop 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 boop, bopping around the corner. He sees Spoonie. Now Spoonie and Dave are friends. And that's what I said. There's a lot of mutual friends between Barry and Dave, and so Dave Pillman, a grown man who's our age, Luke, asks Spoonie for $1.
Fucking dollar.
He asked. I haven't asked for $1 since I was in like middle school when I wanted to buy an extra lunch.
Hey man, give me $1.
Because they had Honduras food and a cheeseburger, and I needed both of them, just like today. But I haven't asked for a
single
$1.
$dollar. Yeah.
No, in fact, in my wallet today, I have $500. I have 5 $100 bills in my wallet right now. I'm not bragging, but it's just the fact of life.
You could fart and $1 come out of your butt crack. I mean,
that's basically right. So, Dave Pillman, friend of Spoonie, and Spoonie, being a decent human being. Okay, man. You need $1, I'll give you $1. That's just my interpretation of what happened. I don't know if he said anything at all.
That is by far the most racist.
That's not racist. That's how Spoonie talks, man. So
it's almost as good as mine. It's almost as good as mine. That was really
everybody's Spoonie's imitation is tremendous, by the way. I've never heard a bad one.
I give you $1. It's cool. Here you go. Hey, that's nice.
So Spoonie sounds a lot like Stagger Lee if you watch the Mid-South DVDs. Anyway, the Junkyard Dog owes me money now. Anyway,
Junkyard Dog made me $1.
So Spoonie Mac gives Dave Pillman $1. Dave Pillman takes $1. He goes around the corner to another place that sells fun things. I guess that this is more of a comic book shop, and apparently this guy's not very good at his job, because a few minutes later, and like you said, even in the beginning of this story, you haven't seen Spoonie Mac ever not wear a Deadpool t-shirt. Yep. Dave comes around the corner, looks at Spoonie, and shows him a comic, not just any comic, but the comic that had the very first appearance of the character Deadpool.
Which Spoonie's just I barely know the guy, and I know he's a huge Deadpool guy.
And he says to Spoonie, "Look what your $1 just bought me." And the man behind the pulpit said, "And that's when we knowed that was the devil." To me, as a man, now Spoonie is not my best friend. I don't even know if I'd consider Spoonie a friend. I like him, but I have a different definition of what that means. I like Spoonie. Even if I didn't like Spoonie, even if I was neutral with Spoonie, if I knew that he liked the Deadpool, and I knew, I'm talking like an 80-year-old woman.
The Deadpool.
The Deadpool. Hey, I don't know who he is. The Deadpool. I really don't know any of this comic book shit. I know you guys do, but God bless you. But anyway,
here's I think the bottom line really is, and I heard this story secondhand. So again, take it with a grain of salt if you want. I think the bottom line, even if Spoon didn't like Deadpool, let me put it this way. I saw 3 of those books this weekend. and the cheapest one I saw was $350.
Man.
Right.
So, and to anybody that doesn't even know comic books, whatever you like to collect, whether it's dust or marriages or Rolex watches or big-legged women, nah, these are the things I like.
Not getting laid, get married.
If you like to collect anything like old video game, I mean, this is one of those. What
For
would
a
you call
Deadpool
them?
fan, it's the Holy Grail.
It's a holy grail for the thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying. So, a decent human being, not even a good human being, a decent human being would have been like, Spoonie is my friend, because they are. Well, not really,
Right.
but Spoonie probably thought that. A decent human being would have went over and bought the comic book and gave it to Spoonie. Spoonie would have been a friend for life. If you needed to move, Spoonie would have been there to help you move. If you needed help with your brakes on your car, Spoonie would have been there pumping the jack. You would have had a friend for life. He would have never forgot that.
True. But just to go up and wave
Just
it,
to go and wave it in his face, you are the dickhead of the week. Dave Pillman.
Is that a new thing? Dickhead of the week?
That's him, man. There's no
Is there
other
a
word.
graphic? Is there a graphic that goes along with that?
All you have to do, all you have to do is get a picture of Dave Pillman and put a little slit in the top of his head, and then there you go.
That is such a. I mean, I didn't have any heat with the guy. Pretty much.
I didn't either.
I didn't like him just from the Nino show, but that's horrible. That makes me want to go punch the guy out, take the comic book, and wrap it
I'll
around
tell
my
you,
piss on it, and piss on him through the comic book.
I'll tell you, this is. I think the person that maybe we're not even sympathizing here with, but
Sure.
the person that was selling the book,
Yeah.
for I don't know that I could have gave the guy $1 and not felt bad about it. I would have probably said, hey, I just want you to know that this book's worth a little bit more than $1.
Oh no, fuck that.
Let me give you $30 for it. I mean, you're still getting a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
I
I went to a fucking garage sale one time and found an in the box Prowl Transformer, and the dude was selling it for $2, and I bought it, and I was like, said the replica of this thing in the box is worth $70.
Yeah.
There's a difference between somebody just getting rid of a bunch of crap they don't want, because you're almost doing them a favor.
Yeah.
Then somebody setting up, supposedly being a comic book expert. Now, it's on them. They should know all of the. If you had a comic book character or whatever, you should know all of the origin comics. I mean, I think that would be not hard to know, even though there's a lot of comic book characters. But I don't know. I would have felt if he's at a swap meet and he's got that thing there, I would have been like, yeah, that's mine. But that's an education for him, I guess. I would have been like, after I bought it, I would have been like, hey, this thing's worth $350. But
I know how my conscience works, and
well, see,
I would have had to kick in a few extra bucks, and bought the damn thing for $1 and said, hey, this is worth a little bit more. I want to buy my conscience from you.
Now,
that's worth $19 to me. Here, let me just give you.
I talked a little shit right back there about how I would I'm an asshole now, but I do remember, and I don't remember the situation, but I've done that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, classic example. I was at a con probably, I guess it was about a year ago, and there was a guy there that had some stuff set up, and he didn't know what the stuff. He knew it was worth something, but he didn't know it was. It was on the card Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. And he knew they were worth something, but he didn't know that they were worth what they were. And he had the most rare Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure that's ever been put out. There's like only 100 of them in existence. Yeah. He had one, and he had it marked for like $20. Somebody came and bought it for $20, and before that day was out, it was on eBay for $1,000.
Right. Well, I mean, said,
I
but
mean,
you
it's
know,
just,
here's my opinion on is fuck Comic Cons because I spent $70 on a fucking beanie bit. All right.
Wow.
It's-
Gross. That Beanie Baby's too close to my Babalones. Where
Yeah,
it is.
too close. I mean, I can see the damn thing right there. I spent $70
Well-
for that worthless piece of shit right there.
Well, my parents were into that. The Beanie Babies at one point became like a weird stock market type thing. It was like they would go up.
that's how any collectible is. It's I made this comparison with one of my dealer buddies. He's at all these shows. He sets up. He's got posters. He's got comics, and he sells replica swords. I mean, he's got all kinds of shit. And we were talking about that. It's just like playing the stock market. He said he probably had 20 comics with Howard the Duck's first appearance in it, and he had them stuffed in his $2 boxes that he sets up and sells comics for $2 a piece. And he said he found out when they did that cut scene at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy with Howard the Duck, he went through and pulled all of them.
Right.
Because he knew that the stock on those was about to go up. And sure enough, he said, the next week, I was selling them for $40 a piece.
What?
Without
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He said
Wow.
these things have been in my $2 boxes for years and years and years. And Bucky gave two shits about them. He's on, Guardians of the Galaxy for 20 seconds. He's got two lines at the very tail end of the credits and all that. And suddenly, I can't keep the damn things. And I'm selling them for, how many ever, was it like 2,000% what he had in them?
So I guess
it's-
the moral of the story is that when we all die and we're sitting around the pearly gates, we're all going to be like, "Where's Dave?"
He's not here.
So,
Dave's not here.
He took the escalator down.
It's not here.
But wait, hold on. I got to add to this Beanie Baby story a little bit. All right.
We
Because-
are an add an hour, and you want to add a match. I just want to let you know that.
Yeah, well, then we won't add the match. I'm looking at. I have a whole. I'm looking at like 30 Beanie Babies in boxes, and the reason I have them on display in my house, I never even told my wife this, is because my ex-wife wanted to keep them so bad. And as a fuck you to that bitch,
Well, that's worth the
I have
price
them-
right there.
I have had them on display in my house for 15 fucking years. All right, because that woman loved collecting Beanie Babies and sucking dick at the truck stop. So,
Whoa!
Marital rape.
Hey now!
All right, now the go home spot. If we're not going to show a match this time, which we were going to show Travis Sawyer versus Danable, which was great.
it's on the Saw page and it's on my YouTube channel. YouTube.
Okay, and then
it's on my bubble.
Ego Pros coming up when, Barry?
Next Saturday,
Next, it will be May
May the 23rd.
May 23rd, and that's in Athens.
Yes, sir. At the Armory.
At the
We're
Armory.
calling it the Big Payback.
The Big Payback. One of my favorite James Brown tunes. And then ETCW, me and Luke are wrestling, and that's June 6th.
June 6th.
And then June 13th, I'm wrestling #1 contenders match at Soul. Okay, so all the plugs out of the way. Southern Bail Bonds. If you go to jail, call Southern Bell. And the number's been up on the program. And then if you don't drive drunk, ride the funk. Now in Sevier County. But the go home spot, our apologies to Barry, because Barry's just going to have to listen to this. But you told me a story, and you in the car today, and you were helping me drive around and find great places to eat, apparently. You were about 2 feet away from the Babalones. Easy over there. Hey. You told a story that you said was on par almost with the AJ Gann or the Michael Gann story we told last week, which I've had tons of people on Facebook, people I haven't talked to in a long time, people who aren't even my friends anymore on Facebook, have messaged me and said, God almighty, that thing about made me wreck the car or pee my pants. And it was a story.
Wait till I get you in the car. I'm going to rough you up real good.
Okay. And the truth of this is that was a Barry Allen story. That wasn't me in the bathroom with Michael Gann, the brother of AJ Gann. That was Michael Gann. And I blew the one of the humorous moments is he said, I can't wait to get you in the car. I'm going to rough you up real good, which was a direct quote from Michael Gann to nobody in the stall.
To his ding dong. Yeah.
To his ding dong. He was talking to his Babalones. So, um, he was way too close. Barry was way too close to his Babalone. Hey, watch out. Um, you said this story was on par, and just I've moved this week in my taxi company to Sevier County, which is the home of Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, which is a real magical place. And if you're listening to this, a lot of people listen to this out in Oakland and Texas and New Jersey and all this stuff. This is a hillbilly Vegas. I live next to an old 1900 farmhouse and a beautiful mountain and a roller coaster. That's what I'm in between.
With goats on the roof.
Yeah, and there's goats on the roof on the one. There's another mountain coaster, and there's goats on the roof of that building down the street a few feet. There's Ferris wheels, go-kart tracks, and thousands of. There's a fake Titanic. There's a frickin' upside-down house. There's hot air balloons.
Hot air Babalones.
Hot air Babylon. This place is just wild. There's great thrift shops, and then there's just immense natural beauty, zip lines, Dollywood, which is like the poor man white trash version of Disney World with no cartoon animals, but glass blowing.
And really good kettle corn.
Yeah. So this is where we live now, and I love it. And Barry should move up here, and we should start a rock band. But anyway, there's a guy up here, and I will shut the hell up. I've talked more of this than I ever.
Yeah, you're on a roll, man.
But there's a guy up here named Lou Vuto, who is a world famous, and I'm kidding when I say world, but he around here people know him because he had his own music theater, and he's an Elvis impersonator, Lou Vuto. And I have another story that I'm not going to tell on this broadcast about him that's hilarious. But this guy's a character. Luke knows him real well. Luke, tell this story that is almost on par with Michael Gann talking to his Babalones with Barry Allen in the room.
Well, first I want to, I used to be a cop again. But, I do want to preface it with this because this is something that happened last night, actually, that I thought was pretty cool. I'm standing in the gas station in line, and there's this woman in front of me, and she doesn't know I'm there, or she does, obviously knows somebody's there, but she's bitching about Gatlinburg and stuff, and she's talking about, then she gets on the subject of, she goes, yeah, and the cops here are just terrible. They're just shitty cops, and I hate them. And, she goes, the only ones that work here that were worth a shit was Walker and Stevens. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, I'm Walker. And so she's but I didn't say anything at the time, but she goes, yeah, Walker, when my husband ran off the road and our Jeep flipped upside down in December, climbed down into the river and held my head out of the water as I hung upside down in the car for 15 minutes. And I'm like, holy shit, I thought this chick was dead. So, and so I finally was like, hey, I'm Walker. And she's like, holy shit, you are Walker. What's with the hair and the beard and your mama? And yeah. But anyway, so I'm putting myself over there with that one. But I mean, I thought that was a pretty cool story. But
yeah, we should end there. That's pretty damn. You should have elaborated on that damn story.
But then of course my supervisor made me take the accident report while I was soaking wet and dying of hypothermia. But no, and so I was a cop for a long time. A lot of shit happens in Gatlinburg, and I've got 1,000 fucking stories that are hilarious or stupid or tragic or whatever. But this one is probably my favorite story because it involves Lou Vuto, and
I love it.
And somebody else that, I'm going to take a gamble. I think Barry will know who it is, but I don't. There's probably two people listening that'll get the name.
Save the pop. Yeah. That's what made me pop on this story.
So I get a call, and there's a stabbing at Pucker's, which is a bar right in the middle of town. And the dude had apparently run out of there and across the street to a hotel and got on an elevator. So I go to the hotel elevator, and I'm the only one on scene. And probably because there was girls somewhere on the other side of town that needed to be looked at. And so I'm the only one I've seen. I get up in the elevator. It looks like a horror film happened in this elevator. There's blood everywhere. I'm checking floor by floor. I go to the first floor, no blood. Second floor, no blood. Third floor, open up. There's this guy sitting there holding his chest, breathing deeply. And blood squirting. And, so I lay him down. I get up to him. I lay him down. And I put my hand across the wound. And I'm trying to comfort him. And I look up. And here comes Lou Vuto and Charlie Hodge. Now, Charlie Hodge was the guy that handed Elvis his towels all through his his career, and so Lou with the sideburns and the fucking Elvis hair, and he's wearing a baby blue fucking polo shirt with the collar popped. Lou, the fucking guy's awesome, and the cats are fucking next to me. And so,
Man, they must really like this story.
So this whole situation, you got to imagine, I am now covered with some dude's blood. I'm holding a hand on his wound. Lou Vuto and Charlie Hodge are walking towards me. Lou says, Luke, because he knows me, he goes, Luke, is there anything I can do? I swear to God, I looked at him dead in the eye and I said, suspicious minds?
Oh my God. I love that. Oh.
I was going to bullshit and add to this story because, Charlie Hodge was the towel guy for Elvis and say, yeah, and so I sent Charlie Hodge to get me some towels, but Lou just got a look on his face like, like, I don't know what the fuck's happening here. Did you just say that?
He turned away saying, we got to win this race.
Yeah, lemonade.
Lemonade.
All right,
refreshing drink.
All right, we went Broadway again on the show. So this has been Funkmaster V. Check out everything. And that was Luke telling a wonderful story. Barry Allen, who's not a Christian but more Christian than me and Luke, who are Christians because his attitude towards Dave Pillman is tremendous.
If you want to do something at the end of this, just to put a short video up, go collect my D's Nuts videos.
Well, you've scattered plenty. Have you seen a friend of mine today? And I can say this: there's a friend of mine that I unfriended on Facebook because I'm trying to clean up and get my Vinny Vineyard Facebook to about where it's really friends, and then the Funkmaster thing anybody can join to see any of the propaganda or whatever. But she cried and had to pop a Xanax today. She messaged me because I removed her from Facebook. In between all of this drama that I don't need, and I'm married, and I don't have time for other women's drama, she sent me a SpongeBob video of it's a D's Nuts compilation. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You have? It wouldn't load on my phone, so after we hang up here, I'm going to watch the SpongeBob compilation.
I'll upload my D's Nuts videos because I just put them on Facebook. I'll put them together and put them onto Facebook, onto YouTube. It's just
there you go. Well, Barry, you got anything else to add, my brother?
Real quick, I just want to say anybody listening needs to go over to the Fanboy Expo page. Vote for my girl Kayla. She's dressed up as Lady Thor. She's trying to win the spot on the modeling contest with them. What's that?
Did you hear who Lady Thor is?
In the movie?
Did I hear who Lady Thor is?
Yeah, you know the Lady Thor, how it's Lady Thor and nobody knows who Lady Thor is?
No.
You want me to spoil it for you for the next 20 minutes until the e-comic comes out?
Is this a new movie?
She's in the movie.
Avengers 2. I'm planning on going to see it and Mad Max on Thursday.
In the comics, you know how
in the comics. Oh yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
It's Jane Foster.
Nice.
Yeah. Lady Thor's girlfriend.
So yeah, there you go. So yeah, I'm trying to help her get as many likes as she can. She's currently in second place. She's trailing by about 150, 200 people, depending on what time of day you look. So trying to hook that up.
Is she losing? Is she losing to the Riddler?
No. She's got the Riddler pretty much on lockdown. She's losing to Zatanna, which
dude, I tell you, that girl
that's gonna happen.
That girl dressed as the Riddler though.
She's a really nice person, but I wanted her to do an opening for a video for a con about two years ago. And she was dressed as Harley Quinn, and I said, just give me a, say, hey, welcome to Fanboy Expo, and, make it very Harley Quinn-esque. And she said, welcome to Fanboy Expo. We're having a good time. And I said, well, you got one part of that right.
So she got off the night promo.
So she thought you said Harley May Quinn.
I think so. I don't.
Oh, but, is the Zatanna outfit one that's the one from the Smallville show, or is it an original?
It's it's like it's the black sparkly undies with the fishnets and the white corset and the little tight jacket with the boobs and the gimmicks and the
Can you sit back slowly?
But we want Lady Thor to win, is what we're saying.
Yes, we want my girl Kayla to win. She's a good girl, and this is the first time that she's ever done anything with this sort of with the cosplaying, and she did a hell of a job. Her costume's completely 100% handmade, and if you go take a look at it, she did really, really well with it. So we're really proud of her trying to get her in that spot. And besides that, I just want to say Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis.
Oh yeah. Well, I would like to plug our sponsor, our Babalones. Hey, whoa,
easy. We're real close. We're close to that. We're real close to that Babalones commercial. Easy.
Easy. Whoa.
Good time working today, huh? Hey, did you see? Did you see it?
What? These nuts.
Hey, pig, what are you looking at? Oh, I know what you're looking at.
These nuts.
Hey, you know what these bubbles kind of look like?
These nuts.
These are your new Saw Tag Team champions, Drew Gabe and Jake Murphy, and they have just beaten the Youngbloods, and I didn't see that happen. This moment is brought to you by
these nuts.